I've been thinking about those MPs again, you know, the ones in the Houses of Parliament in London, those people that are supposed to be working for us. After all, we do pay them, don't we? And they sit there in their constituencies and they listen to the problems that people might have. And I know that I've mentioned that Andrew Bridgen is addressing them in the House of Commons on Friday. Now, of course, we've seen what happened when he addressed the House of Commons in the past, on the 13th of December, for example, or the 17th of March this year. And we've seen how the House of Commons absolutely empty and nobody was there prepared to listen when he was bringing up the important subject of course, the problem with excess deaths. When people, at the moment it seems, left, right and centre all over the place, and not just in the UK, but also in the UK, people are just flopping down to the floor, having cardiac arrest and dying. Of course, we've seen that a lot of people have had the medical intervention, and as a result of that, they've had a lot of harms, and the yellow card system has naturally been filled up, and so many of them, and that's only possibly about 10-15% of anybody who can be bothered to fill in the card system anyway, which suggests that actually there's a hell of a lot more people who've been harmed and damaged by the medical intervention, the little syringe of hope that was rolled out in 2021. And since then, of course, a lot of people everywhere have been talking about this, only not in the mainstream media and certainly not in the government. It's almost as if the government has decided to have completely ear blinkers on them so that they do not listen and they will not debate it and they will not talk about it. And we've seen that only one MP really is prepared to put his neck out on the line and say, hang on a minute, there's something dodgy going on. And not only is there something dodgy going on, but people seem to be dying left, right and centre. And why aren't you debating it? And so you may have noticed, of course, that I've been talking a little bit about that recently, and a lot of my viewers have been in touch and saying, do you know what, we want the MPs to attend this Friday's debate, let's make sure they go there. And so they've written to their MPs saying, will you be there? You need to be there to represent me. And they've been fobbed off left, right and centre by a number of, oh, well, we're a bit busy at the moment. I've got to cut my toenails. I'm out having a glass of whiskey with my mates down the club on the golf. Obviously not those excuses. They've come out with some other willy-nilly excuses that, you know, we're busy, they've got the surgery on and, you know, these debates may not even happen because, unfortunately, the government have decided to schedule Andrew Bridgen's talk on Friday to the penultimate one, the last one. And as you may know, sometimes they don't get to it. So Andrew Bridgen may or may not even get to say the important things that he needs to say. The things that you would think would be absolutely paramount to a government who is serving the community, serving the people who voted for them. You would think that the government would be there going, blimey, this is so important. We don't know why people are dying left, right and centre. We ought to find out, even though if secretly they do know why people are dying, as you may imagine. Now, I want to read you one letter that's come in that is, I suppose, quite typical. I read one of these yesterday. This is another one, but this one is quite interesting in the response. So let's have a look. So this is one from a Dr. Neil Hudson, MP, Penrith and the Border, and it comes, as you can see, on the proper paper. And it says here to a constituent who sent it in called Graham, he says, thank you for contacting me about the excess deaths reported by the Office of National Statistics. I'm afraid that I will be unable to attend this debate due to my existing constituency duties, but I appreciate your concerns about the number of excess deaths recorded on by the ONS. The government is taking steps to help reduce excess deaths, including those which involve COVID-19. So the COVID-19 deaths, I think we can assume, is a different subject really to the ones that seem to be dropping down dead. You know, the young people who are not affected by COVID-19 as such, because it was really that was affecting people in their later life, as it were. Anyway, it goes on, the vaccines remain the first line of defence against COVID-19, antivirals and other treatments that play a crucial role in protecting patients who become infected with COVID-19, particularly those for whom the vaccine may be less effective, such as the immune suppressed. The government is preparing for variants of COVID-19 and influenza through the COVID-19 booster and flu vaccination programs, minimising hospital admissions from both viruses. Going forward, I strongly encourage eligible people to get their booster jab and their flu jab to protect themselves and their loved ones and the NHS. So they're still trying to get people to take what could be arguably a slightly not very healthy subject, these jabs. I'm also conscious of the disruption caused by COVID-19 has had on the significant impact of those people who were living with cancer and other major conditions. The government is taking steps to reduce excess deaths due to these conditions. So it seems that the government is just sort of not looking at what is staring them in the face. Furthermore, the government will announce, it says at the end, that they will publish a major conditions strategy that will tackle the conditions that contribute most to the morbidity and mortality across the population in England, including, and it gives a list of all these other things, and then it's signed off by Dr. Neil Hudson MP. Well, there you go. It just goes to show that they will push this and say, actually, it's everything else. It is everything else bar this one thing that happened in 2021, the rollout of a certain syringe of hope, a medical intervention that may have damaged. Now, of course, they can't admit that this medical intervention that might be causing these problems, although we've seen it all around the health. We know it's not the waiting list. We know it's not a number of problems. It does seem to be, I mean, any intelligent person will be saying, look, this is the suspicion. If that's the suspicion, we should be debating about this. Have we made a paramount mistake? Have we been coerced by perhaps a think tank like the World Health Organization to roll out something which is not of benefit to people that has actually caused them major mishap? Have we made a blunder? That should be what they are discussing. And of course, they're not discussing it because they're just deciding it's everything else but the one thing that most of us suspect is actually the cause of these things. And so it seems that the MPs' hands are tied. Now, either they are just deliberately following the line the government has forced upon them and they will not listen to their constituents, or they don't understand the implications of what is going on, or they're just plain stupid. I'll leave you to make up your mind what you think about that. But to me, if they're not discussing of this, and we've seen how they've avoided two discussions that Andrew Bridgen has brought, if they then want to avoid this third one and any other discussion of what is causing these excess deaths, and they will not address this big question, was it the rollout of a medical intervention of 2021 and these further boosters and various other jabs, if they will not address that, to me, and I'm going to make a bold statement, then if they are allowing people to take something that may be killing them or harming them, is this, in my opinion, it may well be, tantamount to murder.